study direct and indirect speech. Direct and indirect speech. There are two types of speech: direct speech and indirect speech. The direct speech is the repetition of the exact words used by the speaker. The exact words used by the speaker or speakers are repeated. That's known as direct speech. You use it in maybe narratives and some other reports where you want to quote exactly what the person has said. And that's why the direct speech is always in quotation marks, showing that those are the words used by the speaker. Look at the board. You will see how the direct speech is written. This is number 1 and number 2. In number 1, Bayo said. After said, you have a comma. After the comma, what is said begins with a capital letter, and what is said is put in quotation marks. I want to study medicine. Quotation opens here and ends there. In number 2, I said to him, comma again, the capital letter, quotation marks, what do you want? It's a question, so it ends with a question mark. After the question mark, you have the quotation marks to close what is said exactly. Now take note of this. The direct speech always starts with a capital letter, and it is always put in quotation mark. The indirect speech form is also called reported speech. It is also called reported speech. It expresses the main point of a person's statement or question or command, but with a slight modification. With a slight modification. You will notice the modification in the examples below. It has no comma, as you have in the direct speech. But in the indirect speech, there will be no comma. There will be no quotation marks. Look at the examples below. Bayo said that he wanted to study medicine. Once again, Bayo said that he wanted to study medicine. There are some modifications which you can observe in the indirect speech form. In number 2, I asked him what he wanted. I asked him what he wanted. You can see there are also what? Modifications. In contrast to sentence 2 under the direct speech. You will learn how to convert a statement, question, command, request from the direct speech form to the indirect speech form. Those will be done. I just got a question. Someone asked me if it is right to say, Bayo said that he wants to study medicine. Wrong. Bayo said that he wants to study medicine. If you notice the two verbs in that sentence, the two verbs are said and wants. If you want to use the present tense throughout, you start this way. Bayo says he wants to study medicine. Bayo says he wants to study medicine. And if you want to use the other part, you will say, Bayo said that he wanted to study medicine. That will be balanced. Balanced sequence of tense. Earlier on, I told you that we would learn to change statements, questions, commands, requests from the direct speech to the indirect speech. We'll start with the statements, also called declaratives. Look at number 1. You have the markers D and I. D means direct speech, I means indirect speech. Number 1, Mohammed said, Mr. Aldo will buy a new car. Take note of the modification in I. Mohammed said that Mr. Aldo would buy a new car. You will take note of some things that changed there. At least you can find out, you will discover that will changed to would. Number 2, John said, I like teaching. Look at the modification. John said that he liked teaching. Now look at that. The word is in parentheses, brackets. That shows that that word is optional. You may add it or not. Number 3, Bukola said, I posted the letter yesterday. The modification, Bukola said that she had posted the letter the previous day. Take note of the changes. We'll talk about them later. Now look at how to convert questions from the direct speech form to the indirect speech. Number 4, what is your name? Jibola said to the boy. Jibola asked the boy what his name was. Look at it again. Jibola asked the boy what his name was. You can see at the end of this, there is no question mark. Whereas in this one, in D, there's a question mark. There's a quotation mark. In this one, no quotation mark, no question mark. Take note of that. Number 5, Musa said to Mark, where have you been? Musa asked Mark where he had been. Number 6, the teacher said to the students, have you done the assignments? The teacher asked the students if or whether they had done the assignment. Take note of the modification as well. We will discuss them later on. You can see we have more questions. We have 2 types of questions, even more than 2. We have WH questions and yes or no questions. The WH questions has its own way of changing from the direct speech to the indirect speech. You can see it in number 7. What do you want? Bola said to me. This is a WH question. You can see the form. Bola asked me what I wanted. Now look at number 8. Number 8. The teacher said to the boy, is your father a journalist? If you want to respond to that question, your answer could be either yes or no. So that's an example of a yes or no question. To change a yes or no question from the direct speech to the indirect speech, you use this pattern. Use this pattern. The teacher asked the boy if his father was a journalist. Or you can say this. The teacher asked the boy whether his father was a journalist. Either of the 2 is acceptable. This is imperative. Imperatives, God what? Commands. Then some imperatives are put in form of a request. Look at number 9. Go out and get me some newspapers, I said to the clerk. That's like a command. And that's why it has taken this form. I ordered or I told the clerk to go out and get me some newspapers. Number 10. I applied for a casual job, I said to my friend. That sentence is not a command. It's not a command. It's like a request like I'm advising the person. So you can use this pattern. I advised my friend to apply for a casual job. Or you can use the second pattern. I suggested that my friend apply for a casual job. Some people might query, my friend apply. But the explanation is this. The original sentence should be, I suggested that my friend should apply for a casual job. And that's why it has been shortened to, I suggested that my friend apply for a casual job. While I was teaching you how to change the direct speech from, how to change statements, commands, questions from the direct speech to the indirect speech, I told you to take note of the changes and that I will discuss them later. These are some of the changes that take place from the direct speech to the indirect speech. One of the changes is the change in tense. Now take note of this. If the reporting verb is in the present, simple present, this is what we call the reporting verb. Bayo says. This says is the reporting verb. If the reporting verb is in the present tense, when you change it to the indirect speech, it doesn't change form. It doesn't change any form at all. Now take note of the indirect speech form. Bayo says, I want to study medicine. The same pattern. Look at it again. The direct speech, Bayo says, comma, I want to study medicine. Now when you change it to the indirect speech form, the pattern doesn't change because the reporting verb is already in the simple present tense. Take note of that. Bayo says, I want to study medicine. Now, if the verb, the reporting verb is in the past tense, that's when the reported verb will change form. The forms of change or the changes they will take are as stated below. Take note of them. The reporting verb here is said. Bayo said. Because of this word, this one will change when it gets to the indirect speech form. Take note of that. So Bayo said, I want to study medicine. Bayo said that he wanted to study medicine. Now, if the verb in the reported speech or the reporting speech, this one, if this one is want, if it's already in the past tense, if we have something like this, listen to this. Let's say we have Bayo said, comma, I wanted to study medicine. Bayo said, comma, quotation marks open, I wanted to study medicine. Close quotation mark, full stop. That's a direct speech. When you change it to the indirect speech, it will become, past tense will change to past perfect tense. It will become, Bayo said he had wanted to study medicine. Bayo said he had wanted to study medicine. Now, if it is in the present continuous, Bayo said, like this, Bayo said, comma, quotation, open, I am going to study medicine. Bayo said, I am going to study medicine. When you want to change it, it will become, Bayo said that he was going to study medicine. Bayo said that he was going to study medicine. That's the change from present continuous to the past continuous. If it is in the present perfect, let's say Bayo says something like this. Bayo said, he has studied what? Medicine. Bayo said, he has studied medicine. Bayo said, he had studied medicine. If you want to report that one, it will become, Bayo said that he had studied medicine. That's from the present perfect to the past perfect. If the statement is already in the past perfect, you don't need to change it. when you get to the indirect speech form. If the statement is already in the past perfect continuous, it doesn't change form as well. Please take note of the changes in what? In tense when you change from the direct speech to the indirect speech. Someone just asked me a question. Examples of present continuous, present perfect. Now you look at the board. Now if it is present continuous, let's say you have in the sentence is writing. By the time you change its form from the direct speech to the indirect speech, it will become was writing. Present perfect, an example is something like has written. When it changes its form, it becomes had written. The past perfect, had written, it doesn't change at all. Take note of that. The past perfect continuous, an example is had been writing. If that's what you have in the sentence, it doesn't change as well. Please take note of those changes. We'll move from the tenses to the adverbials. How do the adverbials change? What happens to a word like now, from the direct speech to the indirect speech? We've seen the changes that take place in tenses. Now we want to observe the changes that take place in words showing time and position. Words showing time and position. Let's say in the direct speech, you have a word like this. It changes the form. You can see the change. When the word is these, the form changes. Now let's use some examples. Look at this sentence. Olu said, this is mine. Olu said, this is mine. When it changes to the indirect speech, it would become Olu said that that was his. Now you will notice two that's. The first that is the conjunction in the middle. The second that is replacing the word this, which changes. And you should know the other changes. Is will change to what? Was. Mine too will change the form as well. Take note of the remaining changes. Look at a word like now in the direct speech. Let's read this sentence. Mommy said, I will be with you now. Mommy said, I will be with you now. When it changes to the indirect speech, it will become Mommy said that she would be with us then. Mommy said that she would be with us then. Take note of the changes. Let me say it again. The indirect speech will become Mommy said that she would be with us then. Last night we changed to the previous night or the night before. Tomorrow we change to the following day or the next day. Now let's read the sentence. Direct speech form. Mommy said, I will be home tomorrow. When it changes to the indirect speech, it would become Mommy said that she would be home the following day. Or you can say, Mommy said that she would be home the next day. Today we change to that day. If it's tonight, it will change to that night. Look at the example here. Try and see if you can change it on your own from the indirect speech to the direct speech. If you've done that, you realize something like this. Mommy said that she would be home that day. Mommy said she would be home that day. Let's say the word here is tonight. It will become Mommy said that she will be home that night. Mommy said that she will be home that night. Yesterday, we change to the previous day. Once again, yesterday would change to the previous day. Look at the sentence. Mommy said she was home yesterday. Now here, I want to call your attention to something. Look at this word, was. Remember? Remember the changes we talked about under tenses? Past tense we change to what? Past perfect. Now let's see whether you can do the change. This yesterday, Mommy said she was home yesterday will become Mommy said that she had been home the previous day. Once again, Mommy said she had been home the previous day. Was will change to had been. Next week will become the following week. You can try the transformation on your own. You can try it. Then the last one, here, will change to there. An example is this. He said, I'm here. What will it become? He said, he was there. Now, these are the changes. These are the changes taken by the pronouns. You will find them on the board. I and we will change to he, she, and they, depending on the pronoun used. Take note of the forms. Now go down. You are to change the following sentences from the indirect speech form to the direct speech form to the indirect speech form. Change from the direct speech to the indirect speech. Number 1, the sentence is, I posted the letter yesterday, Ibrahim said to our mother. It will become, Ibrahim told his mother he had posted the letter the previous day. Take note of the changes. What are the changes that took place? The reporting word became told, and the present tense, the past tense, posted, changed to had posted. Then yesterday changed to the previous day. Number 2, Adu said to his friend, do you like this? Adu asked his friend if he liked that. Look at the changes. If, like, became liked. This became that. And the last one, the boy said, we worked hard last year. We worked hard last year. Became, the boy said that they had worked hard the previous year. Take note of the changes. They, replacing we, had worked, replacing worked, the previous year, replacing last year. You should be mindful of the changes that will take place when you are shifting from the direct speech form to the indirect speech. Thank you very much.